Hi guys, I'm Shreya,
And I'm Vaibhavi.
and today on the fifth episode of the Girl Up UAE podcast, we're going to be talking about sexualization and objectification of women.
So, sexualization is basically the sexual objectification of women. If you're not sure what objectification is, it's basically the process by which an individual is reduced down to the level of an object and is stripped of all of their humanity and basically are treated as nothing more than a pile of flesh.
Right, so there are many instances of sexualization that happen within media, for instance, and within just daily experiences of women or at parties or so and so. So in the media specifically, we're all aware that for legal reasons or other reasons that there are women who are placed as teenagers in teenage-oriented shows, and they've just overly been sexualized, right? So what do you guys think about this? You guys think it's right or?
I genuinely think that it's very messed up to do that, right? See, it's one thing to place an older woman in the role of a teenager because you can't expect children to play in shows. It's another thing to specifically give her very, lines laced with innuendo. Even though she's a child, just because she's an adult, you're like, oh, it's fine. But then that's like indirectly sexualizing children. And that plays into like the entire schoolgirl aesthetic that's going on, and it's so messed up.
Right.
No, seriously, this whole schoolgirl aesthetic, it's not, I don't know, first of all, it shouldn't be called an aesthetic. I feel like it's just very disturbing that this is how schoolgirls are being stereotyped, be it anime, be it just, comics, be it TV shows, anything that just comes into the picture and like a school-going sim. Have you seen those like video games of those Japanese schoolgirls that you can download on your phone?
It's messed up.
Right, and
Very
also
honest.
like
I'm not allowed to have my top button undone at school. What is going on?
Exactly.
Media.
Like the thing is, schoolgirls, right? They don't do anything sexual. They are literally children going to
they're
school
not
wearing a
sexual
skirt
in
and top.
nature at all.
Exactly. And like, from where are we getting this idea that wearing like a plaid skirt and a top and like knee-high socks is somehow suddenly sexual? And it's even worse because like within the media and stuff, especially in anime, I see like a lot of fan service right within shows because their target audience is men. Understandable, they want to get high viewership. But like, when you do it when the central character is a child, it's like that.
No, regardless though,
Yeah.
the intention, like if that is what they have to do to get more male viewers or to get the attention of someone, that itself is internalized misogyny. And obviously schoolgirls are not sexual in nature. You are a literal child if you're attending school.
Yeah.
Why are children being sexualized?
It's just
Exactly.
very concerning because it's 16-year-olds. The characters are 16-year-olds portrayed by, if it's like a live action movie or show, it's going to be, obviously they don't have actual 16-year-olds portraying these 16-year-old characters. They have older women with more developed bodies, and
Right.
it's just and like in animation, like you just like, it's a bunch of pixels, man, and it just such a unhealthy image in a young girl's mind of what she's supposed to look like and how she's supposed to portray herself. And it comes to a point where a schoolgirl starts sexualizing herself to like look cute in school. Like when you're in math class, you're supposed to bite your pencil when you're doing a sum.
But then,
I mean, I feel like
Chewing on the pencil.
yeah, like it's almost like I'm just doing stuff while I'm thinking. It's like a habit. Why
Yeah.
does it have a sexual innuendo underneath it? It makes you
I
so
think that is
conscious.
it's more common to see this in the media than I feel like in reality. Like I guess that's a standard or a stereotype that's there in the media, but in reality you don't really see that. So why is it in the media, And moreover, I feel like how a lot of teenage girls are on social media platforms like Instagram, TikTok, and so on, and they have this certain like vision to look like those models they see on Instagram that are like kind of busty or have hourglass figures. But these are little children. Your bodies aren't developed yet, and these are the expectations that social media is pushing onto you. And I feel like sexualization and objectification also starts through the media in terms of this way, like it teaches girls to act a certain way, or sometimes there are a lot of I don't know if I should get into this, so I will keep that aside, but media, the way that women are dressing and all of that is also sexualized, but then that is what is the standard, dress that way. So modesty is criticized, and dressing in a way that you feel comfortable. If it's skinny jeans, crop tops, whatever, if you dress like that, then there are a lot of name calling, like being called a slut or etc. And I feel like that is so wrong in nature.
Yeah, it's like okay, sorry, share.
It's like this out.
it's so frustrating because of what you're seeing in media. You're expected to be like this overtly sexual person. That's what people think of you, no matter what you do, right? But the moment you start owning it, and the moment you start being like, okay, you see me sexually, I'll own it. Someone has a problem. It's like, oh, you're like reducing your dignity, as if you didn't do that already, as if you didn't sit and objectify me at my every move. It is so uncomfortable.
No, tell me why guys are like, not all guys, but obviously there are a lot of those guys that like bikini pictures on Instagram. Am I right?
Yeah.
They always like those models like Summer Rae or like Kylie Jenner. Like they're all in their likes, right? And then if their girlfriend or if someone posts pictures, anything related to that, then they are seen as, they're like, what is this? What are you doing?
Exactly.
But this is what you are liking. This is what you're doing. And you're shaming women for this. And I'm not saying that it's justified, like if a girl posts herself that way, or it depends. Like it depends on the situation. Like if you're a minor, it depends. But regardless, this is the whole male gaze aspect that comes into everything, and this is all portrayed within the media itself.
Exactly. And like within the media, especially Bollywood, right? I've noticed over the years, there's this thing called like an item number, right? The entire point is to show how hot the woman is and how many men are lusting after, and how like it's evolved over time. Because like now, back then, it used to be like just a woman owning her sexuality. It's little more subtle in the fact that it was pandering to the male gaze. Now it is so unbelievably obvious that the only reason that's so is because they need to sexualize the woman and bring in more of a male audience in order to gain money. And it's like, when a woman ends up owning it and being like, okay, I'm a sexual creature, I'll be okay with that. Then I'm like, oh, you can't do that. You can't do that. You're not supposed to do that. And it's
very
like,
undignified. Keep it to yourself. We don't need it
right.
out.
Exactly.
That's why there's a lot of criticism on like Cardi B, Megan Thee Stallion, all these like female artists. That, they wear whatever they want.
It's very concerning that like, okay, fine, you can like sexualize a woman, but then when a woman starts owning up to it and like, she starts feeling comfortable in her skin and she does whatever makes her happy, and you think that's sexual. First of all, it shouldn't even be portrayed as sexual. Like what she's wearing is what she's wearing. Why are her clothes provocative and risky and like that's the first question. What is the problem with fishnet fishnet stockings? What's the problem with knee-high socks? Exactly. What's the problem with boots and little plaid skirts? Tell me.
There's no problem.
Why does it affect you so much if someone else's cleavage is seen?
You know what? I've thought about this a lot, right? Fabrics that, people say like, oh, if you wear like, low-cut tops or like maybe something that's very showy. Also, I've like thought about this a lot, yeah. A lot of the things that do end up getting sexualized, like, maybe fishnet stockings or low-cut tops or knee-highs or, anything like that. At the end of the day, they're no more than fabrics on a body. So I don't see where the sexual connotation comes from. It's just cloth that is being worn by different types of bodies. Then the worst part is that when someone wears something that's a little more revealing, quote unquote revealing, people say that, oh, that girl is asking for it. She's like sexualizing herself. So that means I have the right to say and do whatever I want to her because she is deciding to show her breast or show any amount of skin. But then if you think about it, neither of those things are inherently sexual. Neither of them. Like, you can feel attracted to someone because of that, But that doesn't mean it gives you permission to do whatever you want with your bodies. And especially not to vocalize about it. No one wants to know what your sick thoughts are. We're not asking for it. If I wanted to ask for it, I would come and tell you, tell me everything you think about me. Did I do that? Did I? I didn't. So where does the permission come in all of this? Additionally, when young girls have more developed bodies, right? If they have bigger breasts and they have more curvaceous bodies, things that are normal on flatter bodies will be deemed sexual on them. And the worst part is,
Right.
breasts are not even inherently sexual. Up until the last century, we did not see them as sexual. People are more worried about people showing their knees and legs and ankles than about their breasts. There are artworks that show that. There were artworks that got so much backlash, not because her entire chest was uncovered, but because her legs were in the painting. To say that men find breasts inherently sexual, to say that men
Just
find
say
breasts...
the sentence again. Just say the sentence again.
That's it, Khushal.
Sorry again. But to say that men find breasts inherently sexual is just wrong. Because what we deem sexual has changed from time to time to time. So when you say that, oh, it's natural for men to think like this, you're just being an apologist. Sure, they can
That
find...
is what, right. That is a social construction of like sexualization of women, and that's what like also if a woman is in her undergarments, that is sexualized. But if she wears a bikini, which is inherently the same amount of fabric, more or less, you know, it's almost the exact same thing, that is not seen as sexual. That is seen as appropriate wear to a beach. But now let's think about it in another way as well. Like if you see a woman on a beach, she's in a bikini, and if you see a shirtless man who is in his swimming trousers or swimming shorts, whatever, a woman is more likely to be sexualized in terms of that. Like a woman could be, for example, a woman is completely topless, she's not wearing anything, and a man is just shirtless. Why are we deciding to sexualize women? Breasts are essentially just lumps of fat on your chest. There's nothing inherently sexual about it until the mind sexualizes them. And that's also where breastfeeding comes into place. Something that is not sexualized, or it shouldn't be sexual, is sexualized, and that's why there's a lot of controversy on whether women should breastfeed in public or not. But there's nothing sexual about that. You're just feeding your child. So why is something like a basic need for your child sexualized?
I feel okay. Even as Vaibhavi said, for like how a top on someone with smaller breasts versus someone with bigger breasts would be very, differently perceived. It's not just tops. It's like any kind of clothing that a person with a more curvaceous body versus a person with a more flatter body wears. A body type shouldn't first of all be sexual. Let's just start off with that. All bodies are beautiful, and claiming certain body types as sexy and sexual and sensational, and the others is just first of all incredibly toxic. And this mind, this mentality being engraved into young girls from a very young age through magazines and just different forms of media, it needs to stop. It literally needs to stop, because the toxic body image that this creates is just no, it's not. It's unacceptable. Because we don't look at men's different. Because again, when a man, different body types of men come into picture, do we again, this again has a lot of things to do with media, but they're just perceived very differently from how different types of body types in women are perceived when it comes to media, and how they're sexualized. And when they're they're a woman with a more curvaceous body, if you've ever seen magazines, she'll definitely be wearing a lot more curvaceous and a lot more short clothing. And a woman with a flatter and a skinnier structure, she'll be wearing clothes that narrow her down and show her more as hourglass and accentuate her body features. And it's there's a different thing where you dress according to your body type for your needs and your comfort, and it's a whole different conversation when you're doing it to appeal to people around you.
And additionally, I feel like it would be interesting to see how when in Bollywood and Hollywood, when actors get older and older and older, male actors are not expected to be presented as sexually attractive as women are. Because a lot of the time these men do not take care of themselves. In the sense that, not in the sense of weight, in the sense that they smoke, they drink, they do drugs, they do all these things excessively to the point where it shows. And even if it shows, even if they show signs of aging, no one seems to question it. They still get lead roles with 20-year-olds. They still get the hero roles with people who are half their age. But then, when women show any sign of aging, it is inherently seen as bad because youth is sexualized, because youth is seen as better. And that ties in with purity culture as well. Because with youth comes purity, with purity comes value. When value comes, it means you're simultaneously sexualized and expected not to be sexual at the same time. You need to be sexual enough to give a man what he wants during intercourse, but not sexual enough to know everything beforehand. You shouldn't have any experience, but
you need to be innocent and pure, but you need to fulfill all of his needs.
Exactly.
The toxic mentality this engraves into young girls and even young boys is just not okay. Because at the end of the day, it's just a body.
Yeah.
We don't control it. Okay, of course, you can work out and you can take care of yourself. But it's how it's this is how God's made you. And it's just your physical,
there's
how
only
you
so much you can do.
Yeah, and when you're expected she's got she's got smaller breasts, she needs implants. Her lips, her beak, her buttock, just stuff like this. Just why should she have to change her body?
Especially with fat bodies, right? With plus size bodies, the only time they're accepted is when they fit into the standard that is deemed sexually attractive. Hourglass bodies on plus size people is the only one I've ever seen in magazines. Ever! I don't see any other body types. That's the worst part about all of it. Because it creates a system that you literally can't break out of. Because it is everywhere. And the worst part is, it's not perpetrated by the youth mostly. It's perpetrated by the adults in the situation. It's perpetrated by people in power. It's seen in dress codes at school. Honestly, the way
sexualization. I think diet culture has a lot to play. Yeah, go ahead, Aanya.
Right, diet culture, right? And also there's a lot of for minors, girls who are going to school, they're doing whatever they want. They're just existing, and you can hear a lot of teenage boys call her flat or call her this or that. And I feel like it ties in with what you said. A body type should not be sexualized because a body is not just a sexual object. It is a lot more. It does so much for you. It takes care of you. It gives you energy. It does so much. And just viewing it in a nature the expectations that are placed on young girls to have that body type, to look a certain way, just to be deemed as attractive, it's insane. And I feel like even if a woman is just standing in front of you naked, okay, she should not be seen as a sexual object until you are in a sexual context. That's it.
Exactly. Because the entire thing, if a man walks outside naked, he will be looked at and thought of as weird. That's there. He will be probably arrested, or there is a chance he might be assaulted, but that's not that high. It's not that high. But the moment a woman might walk outside naked, butt naked, everything is seen, she will be catcalled, assaulted, and probably harassed and groped by at least a couple of men within the first 10 minutes.
You know what's ironic though?
Yeah.
All of this happens even if a woman is fully clothed.
Exactly.
A woman could wear, she could be covered fully. The only thing that would show of her would probably be her eyes, and she can still face all of the things you just mentioned.
This is actually really true, there are these videos of women wearing a niqab in Muslim countries getting glared at in the middle of the road by men. And it is so concerning. It's your eyes are sexual.
Exactly.
You just close your eyes, at this point. Just no one needs to be seeing anything. It's just so concerning. It's and then, oh my God.
Moreover, regarding dress codes, I feel like there's a lot of sexualization of the female body in terms of designing these dress codes. Keeping in mind the Western side of it, I'm sure shoulders need to be covered, or your knees need to be covered, or your shorts or whatever you're wearing, it can't be a certain level above your knee. It has to be a certain specific way. But then when you look at guys, nobody would really be distracted if they were wearing what a girl would be wearing in a sexual context. You know, like they wouldn't be women wouldn't be distracted in that sexual context when looking at men that would wear probably the same thing that a woman does, right? So that's where the whole mindset aspect comes into place, where it's a social construction. Like sexualization of a female body is a social construction. It's not a fixed biological thing. Nothing is fixed. Like women are not just sexual objects. Women aren't sexual objects, rather. There's so much more than that. And yeah, there's so much more to dress codes than just like it being there for formality or modesty. There's just so many layers to it.
And additionally, aside from just clothing, they police so many other things. Like they do it for guys as well. With regards to hair, they do that. But like guys are not more likely to wear makeup. Makeup is something that's marketed towards young girls and feminine presenting people. So the fact that that is also getting sexualized, but to the point where it's going to be distracting to the guys. Distracting to the guys when I wear makeup on my face. Half the time, the makeup you wear to school is not that bold. It's probably just a little bit of eyeliner, mascara, maybe lip gloss. Why is that a problem? Why is that distracting them? And if they are getting distracted, they should be old enough and aware enough not to get so distracted that their studies go down the drain. How is that my fault? Why are we policing the girls' body, but not teaching the guys not to be distracted? Calling it a natural reaction during puberty or whatever is just taking away all accountability, because girls also go through puberty. Girls also have their hormones changing during school. Do they go around getting distracted by guys? Do they go around making comments on guys? Not that often. They don't do that. We don't have entire scandals about locker rooms or entire, group chats.
Locker room conversation. Yeah.
Like the way there are group chats made specifically to sexualize young girls, that doesn't happen with regards to girls doing that to guys.
I feel like there's a lot about like, oh, how her uniform fits her. Like, have you seen her school shirt? It's too tight around her breasts. Have you seen her pants? They're so tight fitting. Why is her skirt that short? Why does it matter? There's definitely a layer of modesty, and you want to be formal and you want to look casual. I mean, you want to look smart casual, you want to look confident in what you're wearing. But I feel when sexualizing of body parts, first of all, again, I'm saying this for the second time, they are body parts at the end of the day. There is no need to sexualize them. It's like a piece of paper. You don't go around telling her, oh, look at the paper. You know, it's the same for body. Like, there's why does and it becomes really uncomfortable. These locker room conversations are such an uncomfortable situation for young women and young girls, because why are they being sexualized, and why is that sexualizing being vocalized?
Exactly.
If you have thoughts, keep it to yourself. Discussing it with a group of boys is just, it's so disrespectful. She's not an animal. She doesn't consent to it. She's not an animal. She's not a piece of meat, She's a human being with feelings. These are her body parts that for you are just, for you it's all about pleasure. But what about for her, What about her self-respect? What about her comfort? It's just very unsettling that they could have such conversations. And okay, fine, I'm not gonna say that, you're not supposed to think about things like that. Fine, hormones, understandable. Everything's changing. We're growing up, fine. But when it is vocalized and it is spread about as a rumor, that's also very. Locker room conversations is definitely a problem. But when rumors go around, oh, she's such a slut. Oh, she dresses like this for attention. Oh, she's so easy to get. It's just not okay.
Plus, why are women seen as easy? Why is there a whole situation that you have to be hard to get? Oh, if you're being hard to get, oh, she's playing hard to get. She's a prude. But then when you can get with her, she's so easy. But at the end of the day, is that all you can get? Someone that's easy? That should be more on your side, like you should face more backlash than
And
giving another
it's her
girl.
clothes that define if she's easy to get
Oh,
or she's
yeah, of
playing
course.
hard to get. This actually really funny stand-up comedy segment by Veer Das. It's called and he talks about how if she wants it, she can, she can just ask for it. She doesn't she doesn't need to get it. She can just be like, oh yeah,
You can just
you
you
can
can
just
ask for it. Yeah.
But she doesn't ask for it.
At least not from you.
Not from you. So why are you saying that she's asking for it?
Yeah.
And this is the bare minimum, And if you ever see Veer Das's comments in these little feminist jokes where he's laughing at the guys and their misogyny, the fact that the comment section of the YouTube videos, the Instagram posts of that idolizing him and glorifying the bare minimum that he's doing is just not okay, because this teaches the younger generation that the bare minimum is more than enough and that's all you need to do. You just need to treat a person like a human and not a piece of meat, and that's more than enough. You're just not supposed to sexualize and objectify them. But even when you're there's a lot of feelings that come into play, and I feel that's what we need to educate the younger generation on. We need to teach them how to not get affected by what media portrays human bodies and clothes as, because at the end of the day it's just a bunch of tissues and a bunch of cells, and clothes are just woven together, and they fit everyone differently. Everybody's body types are different and beautiful, and sexualizing one and then objectifying it and then looking down upon in a different type of body type and being like, this is not it, this is just this isn't sexy, this isn't
Attractive.
beautiful, it's just this isn't attractive, it's just not okay, and it's
Yeah.
incredibly toxic again.
And I feel like the ideology that the bare minimum is more than enough, it's become so bad to the point where guys sometimes post these random story infographics on Insta just for likes, just to get girls, just for that. Do they care for the cause? No. Do they know what feminism is? Probably not. They probably make fun of it as well. Do they care for what they're posting for? No. At the end of the day, it's all just superficial. It's just like a hogwash that they put on there just so they can show that, oh, I do not think you're an object, so come hit my lineup. And it's so sad because it's like making a joke out of all our problems. It's like when I've seen TikToks online of guys saying, oh, I posted this infographic about Andrew Tate, I've got all these girls in my DMs. And everyone else in the comments is like, it's like, everyone is like, oh, girls are so easy. Huh? If you think that if we are getting impressed by the bare minimum so easily, isn't that a problem with your entire gender? Isn't it the
They
fact
have
that
set that standard.
Exactly.
They have set that standard.
Like the majority
it's
of you don't even reach it. It's so bad. And on top of that, it's like, do our problems not matter? Do you think it's funny to feel like this 24/7?
It's like your problems don't exist to them and they don't want to listen about it. And when you try explaining them what your problems are with sexualization and objectification, and you try thinking, I'm a human being, these are just clothes, please stop sexualizing, they'll be like, oh, snowflake.
No.
Sensitive.
What they're saying? Fatherless behavior. But first of all, why is this a women's issue? If your father is not present in your life, first of all, and you're blaming all these actions of women behaving a certain way, dressing away, on a male figure not being present in their life, then first of all, it's a male issue. Like, why is there so much misogyny that you're bringing out a man not being present in a woman's life too connected to her actions that are deemed as sexual? What?
Exactly.
It's just this ignorant behavior which is so frustrating, because all we really want is to be treated as equals, not to be just treated as, because at the end of the day it all comes down that, she is just a piece of meat who acts a certain way, presents herself a certain way to provoke my behavior. Like she's asking for it.
It's frustrating.
I'm not asking for it. If I have to ask for it, I will ask for it. But thank you very much, I do not want it.
Exactly. And the moment you say you don't want it, guess what happens? They'll end up getting angry and they'll insult you. They'll insult you.
And then they will call you everything. You were ugly anyway, or you're this, you're that.
Then what are you hitting up a lot?
I was just being nice. I was just
Oh, yeah.
You're like,
The difference.
I'm way out of your league anyways. Like,
Like,
I'm playing a different sport, please.
And I think with that, we should conclude the episode because let's end it on a light-hearted
Positive
note.
yeah.
So thank you guys so much for listening to this episode, and we hope you took away something important from today's episode. And we'll see you in the next one.
Ta-ta.